If you have a garden through GACD's Pollinator initiative, your garden should have wildflowers, native grasses, and a pollinator-dependent crop. Grasses provide shelter for pollinators during the winter months and during adverse weather year-round. The wildflowers provide food, and so does the pollinator-dependent crop. So while a pollinator is getting food from your broccoli or pepper plant, that pollinator is helping you get food too, because many of our plant life cycles need pollinators to make their fruits that create the seeds that they need to keep going.
But what do plants start out as?
Roots.
They grow roots in the ground, but what do they start? A seed. And then they grow bigger, right? They get bigger until they can make more seeds. And when they make more seeds, more plants can grow. So it's a cycle because it just keeps on going, like a circle. And our pollinators have life cycles too. So we know about butterfly life cycles. What do they start out as?
Worm.
An egg. And then what do they hatch into? Our caterpillars and things like that. And then what do?
They go into a cocoon.
So our moths go into a cocoon, our
And
butterflies
then
go into a chrysalis,
And then they go into a butterfly.
and then they come out and they're a butterfly.
Students should understand that our pollinators have life cycles just like our plants do, and those life cycles depend on each other. Our pollinators need plants to survive, and we need our pollinators to get the foods that we like to eat. Now let's explore what foods pollinators like to eat, because some of them can be pretty picky. You can use cups like these or any colored buckets that you can find. Please keep in mind that the flowers on top and the painted craft sticks are not required. Once the Kool-Aid, which is acting as your pollen, is added to the cups, place the cups randomly throughout a field, your playground, or within your classroom. Students will be split into groups and each group will get their own hive poster. Before the activity begins, you need to add glue dots to the hive posters for your students. Necessary materials and detailed setup instructions can be found at www.gacd.us/pollinators. In order to enhance students' understanding of the definitions generalist and specialist, ask students if they like apples or bananas and ask students if they like both. Those who like both are like generalists, and those who like one or the other are like specialists.
We're going to be bees today, and we're going to be collecting pollen and bringing it back to our hives.
Provide each student with a cotton swab that will be used to collect pollen from the flower containers. Students will only be given one cotton swab for the duration of this activity. The cotton swab is to imitate the little hairs found on many of our pollinators that collect the pollen and allow them to participate in pollination as they move from flower to flower. Have students form a line in front of their hive poster. Students will then take turns collecting pollen based on their flower color preference. Once students have collected their pollen with their cotton swab, they run back to their team and they place the pollen on the glue dot located on their hive poster. You will repeat the same process for all 4 levels of this activity, Just remember that at the end, students are generalists and they are no longer specialists. If you are working with younger students, we have provided worksheets that students can use for writing out their thoughts on the activity. Students can draw their thoughts on the activity as well. Lastly, each year, University of Georgia Extension creates the Great Georgia Pollinator Census that students are able to participate in. UGA Extension has PowerPoints and materials to help you guide your students when identifying and counting pollinators for this citizen science project. If you have a demonstration garden through GACD, I encourage you to participate in the Great Georgia Pollinator Census. More information on this project can be found at ggapc.org. And remember, the world is changing and that's impacting our pollinators, but there are ways that we can help. Pollinators need food just like we do. They benefit us and we can benefit them. We need to make sure there is always a space for pollinators.